Plus, congressional inaction is putting some low-income Ohioans at risk.
And in sports, Ohio basketball takes the Battle of the Bricks. Newswatch starts right now.
Gas prices in Ohio are decreasing, lowering the national average. Good evening, I'm Reese Thompson.
And I'm Haley Swano. Welcome to Newswatch. Well, prices at the pump in Ohio is on the decline. The average price for gas is now $2.98 per gallon, compared to the previous week, which was at $3.11. The U.S. Energy Information Administration says gas prices across the state has been as low as $2.61 in the past 12 months. A year ago, the gas prices in Ohio were 15% higher than the average now. Since last week, the state's gas prices are about 3.7% lower than the national average. Well, a budget crunch for the Women, Infants, and Children's program could put low-income mothers in Southeast Ohio at risk. The WIC is a special supplemental nutrition program that ensures moms and babies have the nutrients they need to stay healthy. The congressional inaction on WIC is putting low-income Ohioans at risk, which puts more pressure on the Southeast Ohio Food Bank. The Biden administration says that without a funding raise, WIC will be $1 billion behind. An estimate of about 52,000 Ohio women and children would be turned away from the program. Ava Bloom of Hawking Athens Perry Community Action is concerned about what this would mean for HAPCAP. Furthermore, she says there are going to be women who need nutritional support, and there just isn't going to be enough money to pay for it. Congress has until March 1st to make the final call on the WIC funding. Well, General Dave Yost has until Monday to explain why he rejected the voters' amendment rights for November's ballot. The amendment that would allow same-day voter registration in Ohio and expand early in-person voting was rejected by Yost in January. The Ohio Supreme Court set the deadline Friday that will hopefully settle the language of the proposed amendment. Yost has not commented since, saying that the title Ohio Voters' Bill of Rights is misleading and misrepresents the bill.
And I'm your forecaster tonight, Isabel Isco, and for that first look of weather, you can see that today that temperature high that we are having, 57, a lot warmer than we've been having these last few days, and especially for February in southeast Ohio on that warmer side. That temperature low, though, that we're going to be expecting of 27 later in the night, it is going to be a chilly one out there. Those sunny skies, they've been making it pretty beautiful out there in southeast Ohio. These are the last 24 hours. You can see those overnight lows have been really dipping into those low temperatures, but once we get that sunshine out there, it has been those warmer days, and we're already starting to have that temperature decline starting already at 6:30. You can see that this is at 6 o'clock, Athens at 53 degrees, and already now that it's about 6:30, we're looking at temperature of 48 degrees. Those clear skies we're going to be experiencing these next few days. You can see that on that radar, we haven't even been having much haze or anything out there. It's been really beautiful. Whenever you're in the sun, you are experiencing those high temperatures, but once you're in that shade, I'll be getting into how that really cools things down here in southeast Ohio. Let's take it back to Reese.
Thanks, Isabel. Intel is pushing its Central Ohio project completion date from 2025 to 2027. The chip maker is constructing sizable computer chip fabrication plants in Lincoln County. Ohio paid out $600 million in onshoring grants to the tech giant for its Central Ohio venture. An agency spokesperson said the Ohio Department of Development awarded Intel those onshoring grants and has set 2028 as the deadline for when it needs to meet its job and investment commitments to the state. The chipmaker is counting on another stream of funding to see the project through, potentially from the CHIPS and Science Act. Overseas, voters will soon receive their absentee ballots for March 19th's primary election. Ohio boards of elections began sending out the ballots Friday to military and overseas voters. The Ohio Secretary of State's office says that state and federal laws protect these citizens' right and ability to vote. The absentee ballots can be mailed, emailed, or faxed, but like any absentee ballot, returned by mail or in person. Individuals can visit militaryvotes.ohio.gov for information on how to request and return their ballot. A floating restaurant in Cincinnati took a trip down the Ohio River. This past weekend, the Skipper's River Cafe in New Richmond broke loose from the dock, drifting more than half a mile down the river. The restaurant was closed during this time while the owners were trying to disconnect a dock. The fire and rescue team secured the restaurant after nearly an hour and a half using heavy-duty wire. The building is now tied down in 4 different places. New Richmond's fire chief says the river is currently flowing 3 times faster than normal. Coming up, a bill that could dramatically reshape the asylum process and grant new powers to the president. And one health expert says to seek a medical professional for an ADHD diagnosis rather than self-diagnosing.
Sunny days, but once we're getting to that weekend, it's going to be a rainy one here in Athens. Next on Newswatch.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, can you guess which guest just heard that their treasure is worth 6 figures?
Are you serious? Wow. I hate to say wow, but I didn't expect that.
That's a lot more than I would have thought.
That's amazing. I had no idea. Okay.
It's Antiques Roadshow, next time from Old Sturbridge Village in Massachusetts.
Tonight at 8 on WOUB.
It's incredible. How do you find these things?
On Finding Your Roots, Jesse Williams.
Before anybody even tried to get to know me or talk to me, it's just, what are you?
And Sunny Hostin.
It was a constant question.
Complex identities revealed.
I feel more full. It just completes a picture.
And an ancestor's powerful act.
He signed
in an
document with
X.
an X.
Now you got me crying.
Tuesday at 8 on WOUB.
The Black preaching tradition is deeply connected to gospel music. Our singers preach and our preachers sing.
God, we ask that you reinvigorate somebody.
You feel it deep down in your soul. It makes you want to shout. It makes you want to sing.
That's beautiful.
Meet 6 extraordinary women who forged their own answers to a profound question.
As a Black woman, how does it feel to be free?
Lena Horne, Abby Lincoln.
They blaze such a trail.
Nina Simone.
Voice of the civil rights movement.
Cicely Tyson.
Accepted for her talent alone.
Diane Carroll.
We're at a new crossroad.
Pam Grier.
First female action hero in American film.
Look for How It Feels to Be Free.
We'll see what happens here.
On American Masters.
Tuesday at 9 on WOUB.
Big changes could be coming to the U.S. immigration system if a long-awaited Senate bipartisan border deal and foreign aid package becomes law. While the bill has an uphill battle in Congress, if passed, it would dramatically reshape the asylum process and grant new powers to the president. Gloria Pazmino breaks down the details.
Amid an intensifying migrant surge at the U.S. southern border and raging conflicts overseas, a bipartisan legislative proposal was unveiled Sunday to address these crises and dramatically change the U.S. immigration law for the first time in decades.
This bill is vital to America's future interests.
Among the changes, new emergency authority for the executive branch to restrict border crossings if certain numbers are reached, raising the legal standard of proof to pass the initial screening for asylum, expediting the asylum process from years to 6 months, and a new process for U.S. citizenship and immigration services to decide asylum claims without going through the courts.
All the things that we build into this to make this a much stronger system, gaps that are in the law, get closed in this structure.
The $118.2 billion package also provides critical aid to key U.S. allies abroad, including additional support for Ukraine, security assistance for Israel, as well as humanitarian assistance for civilians in Gaza and the West Bank. While Senate leadership is pushing for passage,
We have to persist because this legislation is too important to the country.
the compromise faces an uncertain future. GOP House Speaker Mike Johnson calling it dead on arrival, despite demands from Republicans to contend with the border crisis.
We have to decide as Republicans, what are we going to actually do about the border?
In New York, I'm Gloria Pazmino.
The bill also includes provisions preserving presidential power to grant humanitarian parole, a 5-year expansion of immigrant visas, and a pathway to citizenship for Afghans paroled in the U.S. Among other items, Republican senators are set to meet tonight to discuss moving forward, according to a GOP aide, with a Senate floor test vote slated to take place no later than Wednesday.
Meta's oversight board ruled a manipulated video on Facebook of President Biden can remain online. The video posted last spring was edited to make it seem as if he was touching his adult granddaughter repeatedly and inappropriately. The board said the video does not violate the Facebook parents' manipulated media policy because of a problematic loophole. The policy only applies to video that has been altered by AI and that makes it appear as if a person said something they did not. The policy may be enforced only in situations which both conditions are fulfilled. Also, the policy does not apply to manipulated audio. The board said the loophole threatens elections worldwide and should be closed as soon as possible. Meta says it's reviewing the board's feedback and will respond publicly to their recommendations within 60 days. Well, an intense, long-lasting atmospheric river is moving across California, impacting millions of people. A storm hit Southern California, including parts of Los Angeles, early this morning. Crews were busy rescuing people across the state trapped by flooded waters. Officials qualified this storm as life-threatening, with consequential mudslides and flash flooding. On top of that, more than 500,000 people are left without power. Some people who were preparing for the storm felt there was only so much they could do.
Prepared as we want, or like the county could do whatever they want, but like Mother Nature takes its course.
Areas where the heaviest rain is located are forecast to receive nearly half a year's worth of rain by the end of the storm, ranging between 4 to 8 inches, with higher elevations expecting 8 to 16. The storm is expected to conclude tonight.
And for that full look of weather here in Southeast Ohio, you can see currently out there 48 degrees, like I was saying earlier. Those clear skies that we've been experiencing all throughout the day are still going to be happening throughout these next few days, and I'll be getting into that. You can see on that radar pretty clear skies here in Ohio. That rain that we're seeing is just going more south of us and not affecting us in any way here in Southeast Ohio. Looking at tonight, that overnight low of 27. We're going to be experiencing this for the next few days, where we have these really beautiful daytime temperatures in those 50s. And then once we're looking into overnight, that overnight low reaching well below freezing. That is really bringing the question of what do you have to wear on days like this? It is nice to have on that light jacket in the day, kind of take that off in those 50s once we're reaching those high temperatures at like 3, 4 o'clock. And then once we're reaching those overnight lows, you're going to need that winter jacket once again. It's really feeling like it's all over the place here in February in Southeast Ohio. You're going to be seeing that high pressure system that we've been experiencing has been here for a few days, and it's going to be continuing. You can see that rain that we were just talking about over on that west coast, but here we're going to be experiencing this. It's going to be, if anything, pushing more down. It's going to be giving us those clearer skies, those beautiful skies in those chillier nights. You can see tomorrow, very similar to today, a little bit lower of a temperature high of 50 degrees here, in that temperature low of 26. Still those mostly sunny skies. Looking at 12 hours ahead, this time about 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, that high pressure 24 hours ahead, still just like this about tomorrow, getting on that cooler side as we're going towards the night. 36 hours ahead, and once we're looking at 48 hours ahead, that's whenever we're going to have a peep of what's to come for this weekend. We're going to be having this cold front come down. It's going to be giving us some rain. You can see that intense rain that's happening. It's definitely going to be on the lighter side here in Ohio. We'll be bringing some warmer temperatures first, and then after that, it's going to be giving us just a little bit of rain, but pretty consistent throughout our weekend. And looking at this time next week, you can see in that 7-day outlook, those mostly sunny skies for these next couple of days, starting to cool off. Then that cold front is going to be bringing us some warm temperatures first, but once those warm temperatures are in our area, that's when we're going to get that rain. Friday, that's whenever you're going to really need that umbrella. Then Saturday and Sunday and even into Monday, it's really going to be hitting us more in the morning and at late night. So during the day, you're still going to be able to enjoy those warmer-ish temperatures. And then we're going to be still experiencing this looking at this time next week. So definitely enjoy these next couple days of these mostly sunny skies and before we get to experiencing the rain. Next, let's take it back to Reese.
Looking forward to those warmer temperatures. Thanks, Isabel. A trio of life-saving rescues, 2 by helping hands and 1 by just opening the door. Jeremy Roth explains in today's Take a Look at This.
Watch a Texas police officer use the Heimlich maneuver to save a highway driver choking on a piece of gum. The Mansfield officer said he spotted a vehicle on the interstate with its hazard lights on and suspected an emergency. Sure enough, after the car pulled over, the driver emerged holding her throat, indicating she was choking. The officer immediately began performing the Heimlich maneuver and successfully dislodged the obstruction. The woman seemed okay and later said another driver had entered her lane suddenly, causing her to gasp and inhale the gum. Thankfully, this very vigilant cop was in the right place at the right time. Another tense rescue, this one caught on body camera as NYPD officers raced to the scene of a man who had tripped and fallen on an active subway track. You can hear a train bearing down and blaring its horn as the cops work to pull the man to safety.
Give me your hand. Quick, give me your hand.
The man was pulled clear and was later treated for injuries. The department said he had suffered a medical episode before falling onto the tracks. Finally, a very, very unique rescue at a southeast shipping port. A Coast Guard crew was inspecting shipping containers in Galveston when they heard barking and scratching. Lo and behold, they discovered a dog they say had been trapped inside one of the containers for at least a week. They suspect the dog had been inside of a car that was loaded into the container from a junkyard. They say the pooch, who the crew nicknamed Connie the Container Dog, was okay and seemed very happy to see them. She snapped some pics with her rescuers before being handed off to a local animal shelter for care. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Buckingham Palace announces King Charles III has been diagnosed with cancer. He will step back from public-facing duties while undergoing treatment. A royal source says it is not prostate cancer, but did not elaborate further on the diagnosis. The news comes after the 75-year-old underwent a procedure for an enlarged prostate last month. It is one of the most common childhood disorders, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD. It affects millions of children and symptoms can persist into adulthood. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more on why an expert says an ADHD self-diagnosis could be dangerous.
If properly diagnosed, people with ADHD or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder can get medication to help with symptoms like the inability to concentrate or sit still. Social media may be helping to reduce stigma surrounding this disorder, but some believe it's doing some damage too.
I think the whole conversation around mental health, of course, has changed for the better in the sense that people are actually quite open and honest about talking about their individual struggles. But the challenge or the flip side of it is that it almost becomes talked about term in the popular sphere where clinical terms might start to get misused.
Clinical psychiatrist Dr. Anthony Young and his colleagues started studying ADHD videos posted on social media after noticing more patients coming in for help with focus and concentration. Young says the research revealed more than half of the top 100 most popular videos posted on ADHD at the time had misleading information about the disorder. Their concern is that more people are diagnosing themselves with ADHD and getting treatment they may not even need.
If everybody starts identifying themselves as having ADHD, if like 10% becomes 20%, becomes 30, becomes 50, becomes 60%, then really what is the disorder that we're talking about here? Where are we drawing the line?
If you suspect ADHD, health experts say it's important to see a doctor to be evaluated. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The CDC says an ADHD diagnosis is a process with several steps. The first step is to reach out to a healthcare provider to find out if symptoms fit the diagnosis. That can be a psychologist, a psychiatrist, or a primary care provider.
Coming up in sports, Ohio basketball took the Battle of the Bricks. Hear from Jeff Bowles and more. And for the latest from Newswatch, follow us on Instagram, X formerly Twitter, and YouTube.
For more than 70 years, WOUB Public Media has been the place where people in our region turn to learn how stories of the past ignite the imagination of the future. It's where information, entertainment, and education work together to inform, enlighten, and inspire generations. It's the place where the community gathers to hear and see our world in new and innovative ways. WOUB, the public media you trust that's worthy of your support.
I better get started.
Come on. Watch me. These are your immigrant ancestors. Wow. What's in that? God, sorry. You're alive.
I am!
Gospel music is soul. Amen, brother.
This is amazing.
Next time on Jackie Robinson.
He had purchased the right to speak his mind many times over.
Robinson comes out swinging.
He was not an angry black man. He was an athlete who wanted to win.
And builds a lasting legacy beyond baseball.
He took on everything that we were afraid to face and succeeded.
Don't miss the conclusion of Jackie Robinson.
Thursday at 9 on WOUB.
Thanks to viewers like you, we've been able to tell America's stories on this PBS station. Help us continue to tell these stories now and for future generations by including this station in your charitable plans.
Supporting this PBS station through a gift in your will is easy. To find out more, call the number on your screen or visit this website. Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Grant Kiefer with sports, and Ohio men's basketball got another win against its #1 rival, Miami, Ohio, on Saturday, winning by a final score of 78-69. This was Ohio's 13th straight home win against Miami in the rivalry, as the last time the Redhawks left Athens with a win was January of 2011. Ready to feel old? I was 7 years old the last time Miami won in Athens. Now, despite this, Ohio head coach Jeff Bowles knew his guys would stop the Redhawks' prior momentum.
They were probably as hot as anybody coming in. You know, we had a great week last week. They had a better week than we did. You know, they beat Akron at home. You know, they also beat Kent State on the road. So they came in with a lot of momentum. I think they cut it to 3. We had great looks. You know, I think we were up 10 at the time. They cut it to 3, but you know, we found a way towards the end.
Now, everyone around Athens knows just how big this rivalry is in any sport, and the Bobcat faithful came out in full support. Ohio star senior Jalen Hunter gave the fans and students lots of praise, which the Bobcats fed off of all the way until the final whistle.
Yeah, that was going to be the first thing I was going to say. Just thank you to the students, the fans, the Athens town folk. Like, that meant a lot to us, just especially after we went in the game, just seeing the whole crowd rise and stuff. That stuff, obviously, both of us being our senior year, that stuff you just can't take for granted nowadays.
Now, what was lost in the rivalry itself was just how impactful this was to Ohio in the standings. Miami and OU were tied in conference play, and now the win has put the Bobcats ahead of the Redhawks by a game. Now, if the season were to end today, Ohio would face a surprising Bowling Green squad in the MAC quarterfinals. The tournament is right around the corner with just over a month to go. Over on the women's side, Ohio women's basketball had been on a nice 3-game win streak prior to last Wednesday's loss to Buffalo at home. The Bobcats were back on the road Saturday and faced a tall task against the MAC's top team and fell to the 20-win Ball State Cardinals. Well, yes, Ball State is having an incredible season. They've won 14 in a row and are 10-0 in conference play. They were just too much to handle offensively for Ohio, as 5 Cardinals scored in double figures en route to the Cardinals handing Ohio a second straight loss. Moving over to the high school side, the playoffs for boys and girls basketball are right around the corner, and Hardwood Heroes has you covered with all of the TVC basketball content you'll need. The girls' playoff brackets were just announced, so let's break them down. In Division II, Vinton County will host Washington Courthouse in a play-in game, while Athens will face Waverly in the first round. Moving to Division III, Meigs will host the Ironton Tigers in a play-in game as well. Sticking with Division III here, Alexander will face Huntington in the first round, while NY and Fed Hawk will face off in a TVC showdown. Lastly, in Division IV, Eastern will host a play-in game, and the winner of that will face the juggernaut Waterford Wildcats, while Trimble faces Glenwood in round 1. Now, despite the playoff brackets being out, there's still a week of regular season ball left, and the Athens Lady Bulldogs have a chance to clinch the TVC Ohio outright this evening. With already a share of the conference crown clinched, a win at Vinton County tonight seals the deal for Athens. I'm Grant Kiefer, and that's it for sports. Let's send it back to you, Haley.
Thanks, Grant. Well, still ahead, want to win $1 million for making your Burger King Whopper? But first, here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
I am Sister Lunofini, and I am going to die.
This hip nun drank, smoked, wore normal clothes.
And I was like, that's a nun?
We should all be living our lives the way she's living her life now.
The cancer is making me be a better me. Honestly, death doesn't end at all.
Tonight at 10 on WOUB.
Sometimes we have to look that monster right in the face. Show we're not afraid of it anymore.
Love is the best thing we have. It's the only thing we have.
No more secrets. I just want to be right here in this moment with you.
I trust nothing untoward has occurred.
Right things ahead, darling. Brightness and joy.
Those that underestimate us should do so at their own peril.
And if they do, so bloody what?
Open your eyes.
Action! Best episode ever.
Look at this lineup.
That is huge.
I had no idea what it was.
Moments like this actually feels like magic.
You can feel, just watching them, how long of a journey it's been.
Behind every legend, there's knowledge there.
That is the base of all our history.
I feel really excited.
Wednesday on WOUB.
Finally tonight, Burger King announces its $1 million Whopper contest. Customers can submit their own ingredients for the classic sandwich that made its debut in 1957. There are more than 200,000 possible customized combinations for a Whopper, but applicants can only choose up to 8 possible toppings. Once the Dream Whopper is created, customers can submit their recipe, and they will get an AI preview of their creation. They will also be able to choose a jingle and a background. The deadline for the contest is March 17th. More information is available on Burger King's website. Wow, $1 million. That's $1 million for burger creation.
Actually, I've never had a Whopper before.
That's
crazy.
Yeah, it is kind of sad. But if you're craving that Whopper, it's a beautiful day out there. You're going to be seeing these next few days. They're going to be on that sunny side. Enjoy those mostly sunny skies out there for these next few days. Thursday, it's going to be on that warmer side. Then looking after Thursday, it's going to be a rainy one out there. So definitely enjoy these next few days of those sunny skies out there.
Well, that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For Grant Kiefer and Isabel Isco, I'm Haley Sueno.
And I'm Reese Thompson. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org or follow us on social media. Have a great night.
Support comes from Goldsberry